Tiktakers, we know that many of you love Pokemon. Years go by, and whether on television, video games, or card albums, it remains one of the favorite animations of several generations. Today, we've decided to collect our best creepypastas from the series Pokemon Lost Silver, Pokemon Hell Bell, and Lavender Town Creepy. Enjoy them.
I was walking through the city center when I saw the old video game store with the sign Sale. I had spent so many hours there as a child that memories came over me, and I decided to go in and have a look out of pure curiosity. I walked around the shelves and a title caught my attention. It was a second-hand version of Pokemon Silver, my favorite. Suddenly, nostalgia came over me. My mother had got rid of my old games a long time ago, but I still kept my old Game Boy Color. I didn't hesitate for a second. I bought it and ran home to try it. When I arrived, I changed the batteries on the console and put the cartridge in. The familiar Game Freak logo appeared on the screen. That brought back so many memories. The unmistakable start menu soon emerged. I was surprised to see that the game had the data from a previous game. Probably the old owner hadn't reset it. Out of curiosity, I clicked on it. The first thing that caught my attention was that my character, Gold, didn't have a name, and instead only a few quotation marks appeared. But I found his profile even weirder. 999 hours and 99 minutes played, 16 medals, 999,999 Pokemon dollars, and 251 Pokemon in the Pokédex. I checked my equipment, which was complete. I had a Pokemon with the nickname Harry, and a level 5 Cyndaquil with only one hit point. It had 2 attacks, Screech and Flash. But even stranger was that I found I had 5 unknowns, also level 5. By checking their symbols, I could read the word leave. I closed the menu, still puzzled by all that, and saw that the game had been left at the Bellsprout Tower. But unlike the original game, the central pillar didn't move. I started walking around it until I saw some stairs behind it, and when I walked them, the screen went black. I tried to move around the map, but soon realized that I would need light to continue. At that moment, I remembered that my Cyndaquil had Flash. I used it, but instead, the screen turned completely red. That was getting weirder. The only direction I could take was to the south, and I noticed that the farther I went, the darker the screen got, until I reached the end. Straining my eyes a little, I distinguished a sign. I went over to read it. Turn back now. A dialogue window suddenly popped up, giving me a choice between yes and no, but there was no question. I selected yes, and when doing so, the game notified me that my Cyndaquil had passed out without further explanation. The Game Freak logo reappeared, and the usual music from the game returned. I realized that I could open the menu, and I checked my equipment. I no longer had Cyndaquil, but instead there was a new unknown, 6 in total, whose symbols now said, he died. I was in Goldenrod City. No doubt that version was a hack. I didn't understand how they could sell a faulty game. I reopened my trainer's profile. It showed 24 medals, something clearly impossible. I checked my gear again. 5 unknowns and a level 100 Celebi without a nickname. The unknowns were now level 15 and spelled the word dying. Immediately after closing the menu, the flight animation appeared, and I found myself again at the Bellsprout Tower. With the central pillar as still as before and the light red again, my avatar now had red eyes as if they were bleeding. Again, there was only one way to go, and for the first time I saw another player on the map. It was Red. I advanced to him, and the game quickly went into battle mode. The text simply said, wants to fight, without a name. Me and my opponent, we only had one Pokemon, even though I knew my team was complete. My Celebi came out, with a sprite showing only half the body. Red sent an apparently normal Pikachu, except that he was level 255, and his expression was really sad. The battle started, although I couldn't select any attack. It was as if the game did it for me. Red's Pikachu was far superior in level, so my Celebi soon weakened. The text announced Celebi is dead, and instead of the normal animation, I saw his avatar fade away. The same thing happened soon after with the opponent, who also vanished. The music stopped and the screen went black again. I appeared in my room in New Barktown. My trainer profile said now that I had 40 medals. As for my team, it was all level 20 unknowns, which spelled the word no more. As I moved around the room, I noticed that my avatar was transparent and it was floating like a ghost. I went down to the ground floor, and after not seeing anything, I went out the door. There was no transition. Instead, my sprite turned white and continued on a gray map. It no longer made the slightest sense. I went down the map for a long time, since it was the only possible direction. The screen changed color again, and suddenly the game teleported me again like I was using an escape rope. I appeared in the Lavender Town Tower, surrounded by tombs. But now I didn't even have an avatar. I was able to move the map, but without any references. I checked my Pokemon. I still had 6 unknowns, now level 25. I read the phrase they formed, "I'm dead." Shortly after, a text popped up on the screen which said, "RIP Pokemon Trainer Gold." Now I understood everything. Trainer Gold was dead. In the game, he was a young trainer who, despite his attempts to be a Pokemon master, had been unable to avoid his fate. All his efforts were forgotten by the next generation. I couldn't escape that text, no matter what buttons I pressed. I tried to reset the game, but to no avail. I gave up and put the console back in the closet. After that surreal experience, I would never see the unknowns the same way again, nor the old Pokemon games. For some strange reason, I had the feeling that what had happened to Trainer Gold was a life lesson that could happen to anyone, even me. My brother, after years of playing the Pokemon games, was disappointed with the 4th generation and decided to give me all of the Pokemon stuff he had. The DS games were a bit disappointing for me too, but it didn't matter. It was still a very nice gift from him. I started playing on his save file since I was curious about it, and just like I imagined, he had every single Pokemon at the time registered in his Pokédex. He used to use an action replay to improve the experience, according to him, so that explained everything. He had 6 level 100 Rayquazas, and seeing them, I remembered how I would always lose against them. I was getting a bit bored, so I decided to go to the GTS in Jubilife City to see what other players would offer me for those Rayquazas. I decided I would trade them for any other Pokemon. I hated them and wanted to get rid of them because they reminded me of many humiliating defeats in the past. Once at the trading station, I offered one of the Rayquazas for a Bronzong I selected randomly, just making sure it was level 100, and a few hours later, I received a shiny Bronzong nicknamed Hellbell. I was surprised of having received something so valuable, but at the same time, I hated its name. I'm a religious person, so I feel uncomfortable talking about hell and things like that. And not only that, but all of its stats said 666. It had been captured at the Lost Tower, and its previous trainer was named Bilze. This Pokemon was clearly hacked, but so were my Rayquazas, so I had no right to complain. That Bronzong was making me feel uncomfortable, so I tried to trade it back for just a regular Magikarp. However, every time I tried to put it in the GTS, the game would tell me that I couldn't trade that Pokemon. I still wanted to get rid of it, so I thought my only option would be to release it. Before heading to the PC, I noticed that the Bronzong had an item attached to it. It was male, but I had never seen one with that style. It seemed to have been written letter by letter, like we used to do in Gold and Silver. The message only had 3 words: "Take me back." I didn't understand what that meant, especially since I tried to trade it away but couldn't. So I deleted the mail and continued with my plan of releasing that Bronzong. Once at the PC, I chose the option of deposit Pokemon and I selected Hellbell, but it wouldn't let me deposit it. Every time I tried to deposit the Pokemon, the game showed a message saying, "Hellbell doesn't wanna abandon you." I didn't know what to do until another message suddenly appeared on the screen. It was different and kind of eerie. It said, "I cannot go back on my own. Take me back." I kept trying to release the Bronzong, but the game just wouldn't let me. And then a new message appeared on the screen, which said, "Lost Tower." It started to look as if the game was sending me personalized messages. However, I felt more relaxed knowing what I had to do. It all seemed weird, but feeling determined, I got out of the GTS building and headed to Route 209. I started walking through that route to reach the Lost Tower and finally get rid of that strange Pokemon. But on the way, I noticed that I wasn't seeing any NPCs. It was so bizarre. Especially when the only NPC I saw was an old man who was moving erratically on the screen. And when I talked to him, he would only say, "The bell tolls." Once inside the tower, I tried to go up the stairs, but I couldn't. Then as I tried to go up, I started to hear what seemed to be a bronze bell. And after it tolled 4 times, the tomb in the center of the room broke, showing a hole. I walked towards the hole and fell inside. There, I could see another set of stairs and the bell kept tolling. The more I kept going up those strange stairs, the more fog started to appear and the darker everything was getting. Once at the top, I reached a place surrounded by magma and the bell started to toll faster. And once I reached the end of the stairs, the bell finally stopped tolling. I didn't know what I was doing in that strange place. I didn't see any way to release Hellbell nor to get out myself. But then, a dialogue box appeared on the screen saying, "Oh, you brought Hellbell back to me? Thank you very much." Then, a gentleman trainer appeared in front of my character and Hellbell also appeared standing between both. The game then said that I gave Hellbell back to the gentleman and then asked me to provide my name. Confused, I decided to write my brother's character name, but when I inputted the first letter, the game went back to the dialogue box and said, "Your true name, please." Panic invaded me in that moment. How could the game know? However, I still kept playing and I did what I was asked. I started writing my real name, but the letters now looked red. When I finished, the game asked me to blow into the microphone, so I did. The screen then went black and the dialogue box appeared again, saying, "Thank you, miss. I'm happy to tell you that now you belong to me." In that moment, the bell started to toll again and I could see how my character started changing. And the most terrifying part was that the character ended up looking exactly like me, wearing exactly the same clothes. Then another message appeared saying, "Hellbell used in prison." And immediately after, my DS turned off by itself. Everything changed after that. I can't sleep, all food tastes like ashes, I'm constantly thirsty, and both people and animals stay away from me. My soul now belongs to Hellbell, so please, don't let what happened to me happen to you as well. Tiktakers. Is the Lavender Town name familiar to you? If you are Pokemon players, sure is. And if not, do not worry, you can still watch the video. The story that we are going to tell you goes back to 1996 in Japan. During the summer of that year, Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green began to emerge. The idea of the game was to capture characters called Pokemon that were inspired by animals or objects in real life. But they weren't common. They had superpowers that were based on water, fire, or electricity. Everything was going smoothly, and the responsible of the study expected to earn many benefits. But everything was cut short. They began to realize that many players reported a strange sleep disorder. They were children between 7 and 12 years old, and they had played the new Pokémon. Insomnia over time was joined by irritability, and on some occasions there were nosebleeds and severe headaches. All of them claimed to have played Pokémon Green or Red until they reached a specific place, Lavender Town. This is an in-game location where the tower where trainers bury dead Pokémon is located. There, they became ghosts. After several investigations, an employee of the development company concluded that the disorders in young people were caused by the music that was playing at that point in the game. The melody hit sharp tones that were only perceptible to the ear of a person under 12 years of age. Upon discovering this, the company managers were informed, but it was too late. The local media had already published several cases of suicide of children who had played one of those Pokémon. Those versions were quickly replaced by others without the melody, but the damage had already been done. It remained to be seen who had been responsible for creating that terrifying melody. After several interrogations, the answer was found in Satu Harue, the wife of Shin Nakamura, one of the owners of the video game production company. She was a renowned sound designer and had been in charge of setting the music for the Lavender Town Tower. But to everyone's surprise, the person responsible for the tones that only the children heard had been her husband. He had asked her to make some arrangements to the initial melody, and she had trusted him. To add more drama to the situation, people said Mr. Nakamura committed suicide on the same day the game was released, leaving a letter behind. It read, "Dear Sato, tonight is the beginning of a new era for Japan, a new empire for which I hope to be responsible. I cannot, however, delay to see my creation, for it will begin in a few months. Our dear Ken will undoubtedly be the first martyr of the empire, fallen with many other children. The phoenix will rise from its ashes, the second great Japanese empire, I assure ya." Unfortunately, a few days later, the son was found dead and under the most macabre circumstances. Do you think that everything had been planned by Nakamura? Just thinking about it gives us real chills. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.